All Renegades of Puck to the trenches. It's time for Renegades of Puck TV. Welcome to the bunker. Welcome to the essence of No Half Steppin'. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier, and I'd love to tell you about renegadesofpuck.com. Please go to renegadesofpuck.com. From there, you can learn all of the information and access points about the Renegades of Puck, including that merchandise link. Once you click on that merchandise link, you'll find plenty of gimmicks, but of course, you'll find our classic logo t-shirt. You'll find our Pride logo t-shirt. We have plenty of home-based freakout merchandise still available, and the gimmicks that you know and love. Socks, throw pillows, bed sets. It's all right there in our online store. We've sold out so that you can buy in. And remember, any purchase, any profit from our merchandise goes directly to the Renegades of Puck. Social media is critically important to the Renegades of Puck and this operation that is barely 6 months old. Now we have 120 plus subscriptions on YouTube, and that is incredible. Great job, Renegades of Puck. Bring more Renegades to the trenches one by one recruit at a time. We can do that. Let's keep building on that. Let's keep adding to that. Once we have Renegades of Puck TV posted to YouTube, we would love it if you would share that link on Facebook. If Facebook is not your preferred platform for social media, then take the link and share it right there on Twitter. We are very easy to find on Twitter, and each of the Renegades of Puck are very interactive and ready for the conversation on Twitter. You can also find the Renegades of Puck on Instagram, and you can find the podcast version, audio only, right there on our SoundCloud page. Again, it's easy. Just search Renegades of Puck. If you like our behind-the-scenes stream, you can check that out at Twitch. If we have a first take, a second take, a third take, any F-bombs, whatever it is that happens in the bunker, if it happens behind the scenes and on the set, you see it right there on Twitch. You also get the information long before anybody else does, because it takes me a little while to get the fully produced version up on YouTube. You can also become a partner of the Renegades of Puck by going to Venmo and just searching Renegades of Puck or scanning the QR code that is on your screen right now. We've received some incredible donations to help us out through the period of the home base freakout, and we have depleted all of our funds. If there's anything you can do to help us out, to send us a little bit of love, buy us a little bit of coffee, we sure would appreciate it here in the bunker. Again, you can do that through Venmo. Any donation makes a difference and matters to us because it goes directly to the Renegades of Puck, and as you can see around me, we are adding and upgrading the bunker all the time thanks to your generosity and your support. Now listen, you come here for the No Half Steppin' hockey coverage, so let's get right into it. The Nashville Predators currently find themselves sitting in 4th place in the Central Division with 66 points. They played 55 games on the season. They have a record of 31-20-4, and they have a home record of 15-10-0, and that's where their next game will take place. Now, when it comes to the Central Division, things are starting to get very complicated when you're talking about 2 through 5. The Colorado Avalanche are running away with the Central Division. They currently have 85 points, but 2 through 5, which would be St. Louis, Minnesota, Nashville, and Dallas, are separated by a total of 5 points. From 70 points to 65 points, will find yourself 2nd through 5th. So for the Nashville Predators, their most recent victory, that keeps them 1 point currently ahead of the Dallas Stars, but 1 point behind the Minnesota Wild. The Preds will also have an opportunity to play against the St. Louis Blues in their next batch of games coming up, and the Minnesota Wild. So good Central Division matchups for the Nashville Predators and some pivotal matchups. Let me tell you about the Preds' next set of games. After they wrap up this game coming back home against the Dallas Stars, which will wrap up the regular season series, Thursday they will face off against the Anaheim Ducks, and then Saturday and Sunday, St. Louis Blues at Bridgestone Arena, and then the Minnesota Wild on the road. The 15th of March, the Nashville Predators will host the Pittsburgh Penguins, and on the 17th of March, the Nashville Predators will be in Philadelphia to take on the Flyers for the first time this season. Now, the Dallas Stars was the Nashville Predators' last opponent at Bridgestone Arena, and it is their next opponent at Bridgestone Arena. Let's recap the season series. This will be the 4th and final meeting between these two Central Division rivals. I'll go all the way back to November the 10th when they met for the first time. It was the Preds defeating Dallas 4-2 in Dallas. UC Saros was 25 out of 27 in that game. Duchesne, Janot, Johansson, and Sissons with the goals for the Nashville Predators. On February the 9th, the Nashville Predators fell in Dallas 4-3. UC Saros got the loss 23 out of 27. Duchesne, Trennan, and Tolvanen a goal each. Robertson 2 goals against the Nashville Predators for the Dallas Stars. On the 24th of February, the Nashville Predators' last game at Bridgestone Arena, it was the Preds 2-1 in the shootout over the Dallas Stars on Pekka Rinne jersey and number retirement night. UC Saros picked up the victory and was electric in the game and the shootout 27 out of 28. Tomasina got the goal in regulation, and Granlund picked up the shootout game-winning goal. For the Nashville Predators, they have managed to pick up 4 out of 6 points from the Dallas Stars on the season. It would behoove them to pick up these last 2 remaining points against the Dallas Stars, since they are very close in this chase pack and part of this jumble. For the Nashville Predators, we do still have some concerns on the injury front. Cousins and Borowiecki still listed as day-to-day, both of them very important pieces for this Nashville Predators team, and they need both of them back in the lineup as soon as possible. Now, for the Dallas Stars, the Nashville Predators competition in this next game, let's go back and take a look at their most recent games of action. Let's go back and take a look at 5 of them. On the 23rd of February was a 3-2 overtime win versus the Winnipeg Jets. The next day, on the 24th, a 2-1 shootout loss at the Nashville Predators. We've recapped that one a couple times now. On the 27th of February, 4-2 win versus Buffalo, then a 4-3 win versus the LA Kings on the 2nd of March, and on the 4th of March, a 4-3 overtime win at Winnipeg. Sunday, the Dallas Stars will be at Minnesota taking on the Wild. Taking a look inside the numbers between these two teams in the matchup, goals for the Dallas Stars is 21st in the league at 2.89. The Preds see a significant uptick in that metric after the game in San Jose, 3.13 now. That is the highest I have seen it all season long. That is 14th best in the NHL. The Preds goals against is 2.78 or 10th. The Dallas Stars is 2.87 or 14th. Shots for 17th, shots against 11th for the Dallas side of the ledger, 26th and 18th for the Nashville Predators. Special teams shows an interesting matchup, as the Nashville Predators have the 8th best power play in the NHL, converting 41 times on 170 opportunities, or 24.1%, while the Dallas Stars have the 10th best power play in the NHL, converting 38 times on 166 power play opportunities, 22.9%. The penalty kill is 19th rated for the Dallas Stars. They have given up 34 power play goals on the season. The Preds are 16th rated in that category and have given up 39 power play goals against on the season. The Dallas Stars have a road record of 11-13-2, and for the Nashville Predators, they're very much going to need to hold the line against the Dallas Stars. Games head-to-head in this Central Division jumble are going to be critically more important than some of these Eastern Conference games coming up. Taking a look at the individuals and the high-skilled ones they are on these two teams, Pavelski leads the Dallas Stars in scoring 21 goals and 36 assists for 57 points. Robertson's at 26 goals and 25 assists for 51 points. Rupe Hintz at 23 and 22 for 45. Sagan 17 and 13 for 30. And Jamie Benn 13 and 16 for 29. All 5 of these usually have very good success against the Nashville Predators in head-to-head matchups. Ottinger in net for the Dallas Stars, 18-6-1 record, a .922 save percentage, a 2.28 goals against average. The Nashville Predators stats, Roman Josi, the captain, leads the team in scoring with 14 goals and now 45 assists for 59 points, and we are going to discuss that as the episode goes along for sure. Matt Duchene now at 27 goals and 23 assists for 50 points. Philip Forsberg at 27 goals and 19 assists for 46 points. Granlund at 9 and 33 for 42. Johansson is at 13 and 26 for 39. UC Saros in net has a record of 26, 17, and 3, a save percentage of .923, a goals against average of 2.44. For the Nashville Predators, it's simple. They have an opportunity to do damage against a team that is directly in the running with them in the standings, in this jumble, in the Central Division. The Dallas Stars, if they lose 3 out of 4 to the Nashville Predators this season, that will definitely hurt them in their chances to make the playoffs coming up. It's now time for the Rebirth Sports full game recap. Rebirth Sports, you can find them online at rebirthsports.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and let them know you heard us talking about them right here in the trenches in the bunker on Renegades of Puck TV. It's not just the jersey that you see me wearing right now as I'm hosting the show, or the jerseys that you see me in league play over the years for the Mighty Drunks, winning multiple championships, but also the jerseys that you see me wearing in tournaments, for charity events, and also in the United States Pond Hockey Championships. Everywhere I go, everywhere I play hockey, Rebirth Sports is well represented. Every time you see a great-looking jersey, you see some great-looking threads, I guarantee you they're from Rebirth Sports. Make sure you check them out. They can take your vision and make it a reality, just as they have done with the jersey you see me wearing right here before you. They're not only great at making jerseys, they're great at outfitting your entire hockey operation. They are hockey tailors. They're also great people. They put out a great product, and they are a great business. You should definitely want to partner with them the way the Renegades of Puck have. I would not allow anyone else to put a jersey on one of the members of the High Council of the Renegades of Puck. Rebirth Sports. We sure do appreciate everything they do as incredible partners to the Renegades of Puck. We go all the way back to March the 5th of the year 2022 when the Nashville Predators were in San Jose to take on the Sharks, and John Hines deploys his lines as follows. Forsberg, Johansson, and Duchesne, Tolvanen, and Granlund, and Cunnin. So you see centers number 1 and number 2 flip their spots, which is great because I wanted to see both of them get a little bit more consistency in their game. Trenton, Sissons, and Janot, Luff, McCarron, and Tomasina make up the bottom 6. Yossi and Fabro, Ekholm, and Benning, Harper, and Carrier make up your defensive pairings. UC Saros gets the start in net. We're 1:49 into the first period, and Cunnin and Meyer off to the box. 2 minutes each for roughing. A scrum after the whistle leads to a 4-on-4. At 5:33 of the first period, newly acquired Staylock makes a save on Forsberg for the San Jose Sharks. 7:59 of the first period, Saros covers a pinballing puck after Burns' shot does a little bit of damage. 10:43, McCarron's on the board for the Nashville Predators with his third goal of the season. Tomasino to a crashing McCarron off of a hard forecheck setup. The Nashville Predators now have a 1-0 lead in San Jose. 14:53 of the first period, UC Saros comes up with a save on Dzingel, sliding across to the back post after the turnover. It goes off of the post as well, so UC Saros does a great job and shows off again that otherworldly edge work and tracking. 16:04 of the first period, Yossi comes up with a 2-minute tripping penalty. Strong PK by the Preds, only giving up one shot on goal against by San Jose. At 18:30 of the first period, we see Duchesne get on the board for the Preds with the 26th goal of the season. It was a long wrist shot through lots of traffic. Staylock, I do not believe, ever saw this puck, the release, or any part of this play coming his way. The Preds have a 2-0 lead in San Jose. We hit the intermission with the Preds out shooting San Jose 11-5 into the second period. And it took a couple of scoring changes before we finally got the word on this one. But at 2:43 of the second period, Luff gets his second goal of the season, a long shot through traffic. It hits the skate near the crease while McCarron was setting an incredible screen. The Preds are up 3-0 in San Jose. 4:34 of the second period, Myers off to the box, 2 minutes for interference. Forsberg is then off to the box, 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct. He chased down Couture after a low hit in the corner. This leads to a 4-on-4 scenario. Philip Forsberg has got to do a better job of keeping control of his temper in this scenario. Up by 3 goals and on a power play, you can't chase a guy down and get a penalty. Saros has to come up with a save on Myers' partial breakaways. He jumps out of the box to initiate the beginnings of the power play. Saros comes up with a save on Hurdle then as that power play expires. 8:57 of the second period, Saros save on Middleton. 9:29, Meyer hits the iron off of the rush. At 12:42, Milosh is off to the box for 2 minutes, and Staylock has to come up with a save on Granlund's rebound backhand. Elevation puts the puck in the net, but no elevation puts the puck into the leg pad. San Jose's PK is very good. They only give up a total of 2 shots on goal for the Nashville Predators. 15:43 of the second period, Saros comes up with a save on Reedy. 16:03, Janot is off to the box. 2 minutes for boarding. That's when Hurdle goes off to the box. 2 minutes for a face-off violation, and we see a 4-on-4 for a minute and 57 seconds. Staylock does have to come up with a save on Ekholm off the rush just as this special teams sequence is coming to its conclusion. 18:17, Saros comes up with a save on Hurdle. 19:30, Luff's got his third goal of the season, and he is bringing the jam. Third, maybe the fourth rebound put back by the Nashville Predators. Everyone out there on the ice had a chance at it before Luff corralled it and put it into the empty net. His third goal of the season, second goal of the game, giving the Preds a 4-0 lead. And at the intermission, the Nashville Predators are out shooting San Jose 25-14. So the Sharks did manage to get 9 shots on goal in the second period, but they were unable to beat UC Saros. We go into the third period, and we're 2:43 into the third. Saros comes up with a save on Dzingel plus Nieto's jam attempt. Scrum after the whistle. Good job by the Nashville Predators and their D clearing players away from UC Saros. We haven't seen enough support for Saros as of late. 4:43 of the third period, Duchesne's got his second goal of the game, his 27th of the season, giving the Preds a 5-0 lead. It was a partial breakaway. He goes forehand, backhand, and he gets the elevation just under the bar, and he converts. The Preds now up by 5 goals. 6:07 in the third, McCarron's got his 4th goal. It's Luff with the perfect setup and easy finish at the top of the crease for McCarron, giving it a 6-0 lead over the Nashville Predators, over the San Jose Sharks. 6:24 of the third period, Sissons off the box, 2 minutes for holding. Saros would come up with a save on Dzingel, but after killing that off at 11:13 in the third period, Trenton comes up with his 13th goal of the season. Another hard forecheck play leads to an easy goal from the slot. Now 7-0 in favor of the Nashville Predators. We would see Granlund pick up a power play goal, his 9th of the season, some diving rebound jam. That would be the Nashville Predators' 8th goal of the season. Then we would see a couple of fighting majors to wrap up the third period as the San Jose Jose Sharks are fully humiliated on their home ice. They dropped this one 8-0 to the Nashville Predators. The Preds outshoot San Jose 36-20. Now, when the Preds got up 3-0, it was easy to look and see that there has been a pattern as of late with this Nashville Predators team. They get up by 3 goals, they shut things down, they fall back, and they find themselves either in highly competitive games or they find themselves losing games where they once had 3-goal leads. Not on this occasion. The Nashville Predators kept their foot on the gas for the entirety of the game, and even in the final minute of the game, were still trying to continue scoring. That's exactly what John Hines needed to see. That's exactly what the fan base needed to see, and that's exactly what the players needed to do. They needed to go out there and throttle a bad team like they did to the San Jose Sharks. Too many times this season, the Preds have played down to bad competition, and they have not been able to handle the business the way it needed to be handled. This game is exactly how you needed to handle it. You shut down the San Jose Sharks, you beat them by 8 goals, and you got a lot of your players some good confidence-building offensive moments last night in San Jose. Overall, great job. UC Saros, while you may think he had an incredibly light night, it wasn't the heaviest workload you've ever seen, but he did have to be sharp in the second period, and he did have a couple of partial breakaways and such that he had to deal with throughout the game. Let's just get right into talking about UC Saros. That was the Rebirth Sports recap, and we should appreciate Rebirth Sports for sponsoring that. UC Saros was 20 out of 20 in the game. I thought that he was actually quite good. A strong second period. It's his third shutout of the season, and it was great to see UC Saros get back up on the board with a nice big win and a shutout to build his confidence as well. He hasn't been playing the best hockey as of late, hasn't been getting the best support as of late. A lot of that changed in San Jose, and that's great for the Nashville Predators. Mastradamus is back in the trenches. He's the starting goaltender of Predneck Nation and the Renegades of Puck, and he has been so for a very long time. So let's just go ahead and turn the show over to Mosh and let him talk about all things that are happening between the pipes for the Nashville Predators.
Thanks, Charlie. The Nashville Predators get the bad taste out of their mouths from the game in Seattle and lay a beatdown of epic proportions on the San Jose Sharks, 8-0. At the Shark Tank, the SAP Center, whatever you want to call it out there. It was the Preds' home on this night, just absolutely dominating from start to finish. Of course, my job, goaltenders, UC Saros, didn't have a whole lot to do tonight. I'm pretty sure if I was in it, the Preds still would have come out victorious in this one. He made a couple of very nice saves on some odd man breaks, but aside from that, didn't have a whole lot of action. And that was a very key thing to me as well to look at that, because we've seen in the past when he doesn't get a whole lot of action. We saw this actually more historically with Pekka Rinne. When he doesn't see a whole lot of pucks, he tends to be a little bit flat. But UC Saros incredibly sharp on this night with the few shots that he did have to face that were high quality. So good job by him. Gets his third shutout of the season, 17th in his career, and still showing signs that he's put those last few games behind him. And we've said it before, if he's not great, the Preds are going to lose. He is such a pivotal part in this hockey team's success. You cannot overstate that enough. On the other end, Alex Staylock, he has been out of the NHL for 2 years. March 7th, 2020 was the last time he manned an NHL net. That was when he was back in Minnesota. He faced the LA Kings that night, gave up 6 goals then too. So not a couple of good nights for Alex Staylock, of course, being pulled in this one. And the Preds get 2 more goals to finish the night out. So certainly can't pin this one on him, particularly that 4th goal of the game when the Preds had about 5 different chances on it, and he was scrambling around trying to keep it out of the net. So, but the Preds, relentless. That's what we like to see, a full 60-minute effort. They could have very easily sat back after the second period, but they kept attacking and throwing it down the throats of the San Jose Sharks. So good for them to get that job done. Next up, of course, the Dallas Stars. They just played them less than 2 weeks ago on home ice, won in a shootout. You'd like to get a win in regulation, of course, to keep Dallas at bay. Of course, Dallas has been playing very well here as of late, got themselves back into a playoff position. And the Preds, of course, fighting with several other teams for those wild card spots. Thanks, Charlie, and everyone for giving me the time to speak a little bit about the event, of course, from last Friday, the home base freakout at Tailgate Brewery. It's been a little while. Of course, I have not had a chance to record to just thank everybody for that event. I've had a lot of hectic times in my life here over the last couple of weeks. We actually took a detour to even be at the event. So I can't thank my wife, Stephanie, enough for going along with that after losing her father earlier that week. So again, just really wanted to just voice a little bit about how much that event meant to me personally. Just to be a small part of something like that, where everybody just came together as a hockey community. Charlie pubbed it all the time. It's not about the Preds versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. It wasn't just a Preds tailgate event. It was about getting the entire hockey community together on one stage and just celebrate and just be together as a hockey community and just enjoy each other's company. Old beefs, didn't matter what it was. We were all there just having a great time. Rival writers, rival radio stations, it didn't matter who you were. Everybody had an absolute blast. Myself, if you saw me that night, I was grinning ear to ear the entire night. I could not have been more proud of being, again, just the smallest part of this event. Seeing guys like Eric Young over there, AP writer Teresa Walker was there, the broadcast crew, Chris Mason, Willie Donick, Hal Gill, Lindsey Rowley, everybody, AJ Molesko, all the people that were there just looked like they had an absolute blast of a time. And again, it's all about getting everybody together on one stage. Again, I may be repeating myself, but it meant a lot. It was an event that I'll never forget, one of the best nights of my life. And it's for moments like these that really made it, that really was the proudest time, proudest moment of the night for me. Because there's enough hate going on in this world where we can't let petty differences get in the way of anything, really. I mean, it's small potatoes compared to everything else going on. So it was great to see old scores be completely dropped and just have everybody under one roof to just have a great time. So again, Charlie, everyone, the fans that were there, you guys were just fantastic. It was very humbling to see some of the fans, and great to see you in person as opposed to being on Twitter. It was kind of weird that it had to. It's an event like that to kind of happen, that we see each other on Twitter all the time, and then we don't really see each other until finally again at the home base freakout. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'll never forget it. And again, thank you everyone for coming and for supporting Renegades of Puck.
You can find him on Twitter at GreekGoalie35. You can watch him right here on Renegades of Puck TV. He is the starting goaltender of the Renegades of Puck. If it happens between the pipes, Mostradamus has it covered. Sure to appreciate Mosh jumping in the trenches with the Renegades of Puck. Let me tell you quickly about Strong Style Fitness, another great partner here of the show for Renegades of Puck TV. Strong Style Fitness can be found on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and of course at strongstylefit.com. 150 workouts by a certified personal trainer, all completely donation-based and on-demand, ready for you. Tracy does an incredible job of taking you through the workouts, letting you know what, if any, equipment you are going to need and exactly what you're going to need to be doing throughout the workout. She's an incredible certified personal trainer, and she does a great job, and she doesn't even ask any money. I've seen the results with my own eyes, and plenty of Renegades have experienced the results for themselves. Get off the couch, get yourself moving, get yourself healthy. I need you in the fight for the long haul, Renegades of Puck, and Strong Style Fit is going to make that very possible. Once you've achieved what you want and you've seen your goals, go ahead and make a donation over to Strong Style Fit. Send some stick taps, love, and respect, and let Tracy know how much you appreciate what she has done to help out the Renegades of Puck. We have to talk about the fourth line in this game. It was the number one story without a doubt. McCarron, Luff, and Tomasina in this game, 4 goals and 6 assists for 10 points, and they did all of this in a very efficient and economical 32 of 51 total time on ice for the 3 players. So that averages out to just over 10 minutes per player in this game. Now listen, why is this such a surprising and big story and number? Well, the 10 points scored by these 3 players combined for the entirety of the season before this game, they had 26 points among the 3 of them, and now 10 points in this one game in San Jose. It was simply incredible. They were out there hard on the forecheck all night. They were going to the hard areas. They were paying the price, and they were getting rewarded. It was good to see John Hines giving them the opportunity, also putting them out there on the power play in the third period. It was already a blowout. You don't want to put your high-skill guys out there in those situations to show up the other team, So you give the guys who did the hard work the reward. So it was good to see McCarron, Luff get opportunities out there on the power play at the end of the game. And they were simply incredible and absolutely dynamic in this game. It was great to see for the Nashville Predators. Matter of fact, Sean C. Smith wants to follow up on this, and he wants to talk a lot more about the fourth line. So from ontheforecheck.com, you can find him on Twitter at SCSOTF. He is, of course, Sean C. Smith, and he's going to pick up the conversation right here.
Thanks, Charlie. Hey, Renegades, it's Sean C. Smith, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Preds versus the Sharks. And if you're like me, you kind of needed this big win after what happened against Seattle the other night. And I'm going to go ahead and say, sorry for missing out on the show the other night. It was a little bit under the weather, but we're on the mend, and I'm back again. And guess who else is back? The Preds. And let's talk about who really led the way for the team against the Sharks. And I'm going to say this. You normally know me. If you pay any attention to this show, read anything I ever write, see anything I do with Alex Doherty, listen to the On the Forecheck podcast, then you're going to know that I am a champion of the third pairing defender. And that's what I like to talk about. That's kind of my bread and butter. But we're going to talk about someone else tonight. And I think that's what's exciting is that I saw an outstanding performance from the Predators' fourth line. Now, the fourth line, very similar in makeup to what the third pairing defenders need to do. They go out there and they play those hard minutes, and they do a lot of the things that nobody else wants to do. They take a lot of face-offs in the defensive zone. They get a lot of starts down there. They often have to go out there against solid competition and make sure to try to shut them down. So when you do get to see a big offensive night from your fourth line, it's really exciting. And let me tell you, 8 goals, 8 unanswered goals is exciting enough as it is. If you'd told me the guys on the first and second line had scored all those goals, you wouldn't hear me complain. I'd be just as happy as any other win. But listen, this was a showstopper from the fourth line. And I don't normally come with stats, but I even wrote some stuff down. So I'm gonna read the stats to you. Not a numbers guy, but these numbers are pretty dang impressive. Number one, let's start with Philip Tomasina. We've talked a lot about Philip Tomasina as somebody that we've said we would like to see him with some line mates with a little more skill. And while that's true, and that's definitely something that I'm still going to stand by, he did it last night with Michael McCarron and Matt Luff. He got them the puck. He got the puck up where it needed to go in order to get into the net. He even got credited with one of the goals for a hot minute there, but ended up with an assist instead, which is just fine. Not going to complain because he had 3 big assists on the night. And those are the kind of numbers you want to see from someone like Philip Tomasina. You want to see him, if he's not putting the puck in the net himself, he's making the plays happen. And that's exactly what we saw from him last night. Big time game for Philip Tomasina. Of course, he was feeding that puck to his line mates. One of those line mates was Matt Luff. Now, I love Matt Luff. I don't think I can say enough about him. I'm excited when he does get to come and play with the Predators. I think he adds a very good element to that fourth line. I think he has a better scoring touch than some of the other guys that have been on the fourth line with Tomasina. And we saw him turn in a 2-goal, 1-assist performance, 3 big points on the night. And what's impressive to me about Luff is that he looks comfortable here. And while that's not necessarily, obviously players are going to want their new teammates to feel welcome. I think it says a lot that he can come into this team from Milwaukee, not play every game, but feel 100% comfortable on the ice with those guys as well as in the locker room. And to see him get rewarded toward the end of the game with being put on the ice, knowing he had 2 goals, an attempt to get a hat trick, that tells you that the team cares about him. He cares about the team. The respect is mutual. It goes both ways. They don't think of him any differently than they do people on the first line, the second line. It doesn't matter. If you're in that locker room, you're on this team, and that's exactly what you saw out there tonight. He's going to fight hard for this team. He's done it every time he's been with the big club, and he got rewarded for it tonight. Now, of course, the star of the show, and what's funny about this is I'm saying the star of the show, UC Saros had a shutout. Doesn't even get mentioned because this is such an incredible performance from Michael McCarron. We don't say much about Michael McCarron. In fact, when we talk about Philip Tomasina, it's one of the guys we say we'd like to see him with better line mates. That's one of the guys we're talking about. But I've been saying for weeks now that Michael McCarron has done something, and I'm not smart enough to know what it is, but he's changed the way he plays in front of the net. And you're starting to see it pay off a lot. This isn't the first time he scored a goal recently. He's getting on the scoreboard a lot more because he's getting to the front of the net. He's getting himself not just in a position to take away the goalie's eyes or to screen the goalie or something, but he is actually there putting in goals. He's there in a position to get rebounds like he needs to be. And whatever he's done to make that happen, I'm going to take it and I'm going to let him run with it because that's good stuff. Michael McCarron had 2 goals and 2 assists. And again, toward the end of the game, you see the respect for the man. You don't probably think he gets a lot of respect from everybody else out in Preds land, but from the team respects him. They know what he contributes to the team. It may not just be on the scoreboard every night. It may be with the way he plays physically, the way he stands up for his teammates. And he ended up with 2 goals and 2 assists. That's incredible. He was put out there very early on a power play in an attempt to allow him to get a hat trick. And when you earn that time and you get rewarded in that way, that should show you that this is a player that is a part of the team, regardless of what everybody else out there in Preds fan land wants to say. And I think what's most exciting to me about this is that it wasn't just him from the fourth line that got to do that. Luff got to do it as well. They put them both out there together toward the end of the game to give them both opportunities in order to try to get their hat tricks. And what's funny is there seemed like the best chance they had to do it. They weren't selfish and they passed it off to each other. Neither one of them were able to convert, unfortunately. But I think that shows the strength of this team, and it shows the strength of these players, regardless of where they're playing in the lineup, is that they're looking out for each other. They have each other's backs. They knew, both of those guys knew, that a 9th goal wasn't going to make a difference. It wasn't going to get them 2 more points or an extra point or anything. But they were both willing to say, hey, I'd rather this guy get the goal. No, I'd rather my line mate get the goal and get that hat trick. And I think that's what you want to see in a team heading down the stretch, is you want to see a team that fights for each other, a team that plays with and for each other. And that's exactly what you saw out of the fourth line tonight. Can't say anything. I don't know that I have enough words for the fourth line, but I will say they brought the fourth line out to post-game media availability, and you could tell it was jubilant. They were excited. They were celebratory. They were having a great time. They were laughing, joking. It's exactly what you want to see. And it was really interesting because we've heard John Hines say, don't get too high, don't get too low, take the lessons and move on. And John Hines clarified tonight and said, you're allowed to enjoy your win. You're allowed to enjoy your successes. Enjoy it in the locker room. Enjoy it after the game. Enjoy it that night. But 24 hours later, we got to get back to business. You can't stay so high on what you did 2 nights ago that you forget to do it again against your next opponent. So we got some clarity on that. Those boys are going to be allowed to enjoy their big performance, and I hope everybody else out there did too. Renegades, it's great to be back. I know I went on for a long time, but again, I brought stats. I mean, come on, I brought stats. We're talking stats, we're talking fourth line. I don't do that a lot, so I figured it was worth a little bit of extra time. Charlie, sending it back over to you.
You can find him on Twitter at SCSOTF. You can check out his work on theforecheck.com. You can watch him right here on Renegades of Puck TV. He's the one and only Sean C. Smith, and he is outstanding. Stick taps, love, and respect to you, my friend. Thank you so much for being in the trenches with the Renegades of Puck. Let me run down the numbers in the box score for you, and there are quite a few numbers. Your goal scores for the Nashville Predators. Matt Duchene had 2. Granlund had 1. Luff had 2. McCarron had 2. And Yakov Trenin had 1. In a game where the Preds scored 8 goals, no goals by the defensemen, all coming from the forwards. For assists, quite a few of these as well. Forsberg with 1. Johansson with 1. Luff with 1. McCarron with 2. Philip Tomasina with 3. Ekholm and Fabro with 1 apiece. And the captain, Roman Josi, had 4 assists in this game. Shots on goal, Roman Josi again leading the way. 7 total. The next highest was 3, and that was from Trenin, Granlund, and also Forsberg. When you look at the hits category, 7 from Eeli Tolvanen. Great job by Eeli Tolvanen out there playing physical. I thought he was very noticeable last night, even though he was held completely off the score sheet. You also had 4 hits from Sissons, 4 hits from Jeannot in this game. 2 takeaways also for Roman Josi, just to add one more thing that he did that was incredible in this game. And of course, I mentioned UC Saros was 20 out of 20 in this game. Overall, an incredible night, incredible box score for the Nashville Predators. John Hines even managed to limit just about everybody's ice time and keep them rested as we get to that point in the season. We're about to hit the final quarter of the schedule for the Nashville Predators. This was a complete and dominating effort from start to finish. Other than a lull for just a couple of minutes in the middle of the second period, the Nashville Predators controlled this entire game. And when you win 8-0, it's very difficult to find much to nitpick about. That was the box score, and that was the numbers. Brian Basson will be back with the Renegade Analytics desk here very soon. He'll be back from sick bay. Brian, hope you get to feeling better soon. But let me tell you about Stripe Digital Solutions very quickly. Yet another great partner of the show, StripeDigitalSolutions.com. Stripe Digital Solutions is also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. From the logo on the wall behind me to the crest you see on the jersey, RenegadesOfPuck.com, our social media platforms, everything. We cannot do any of that without Stripe Digital Solutions, an incredible partner who has the savvy and the understanding to help you defeat the algorithm and do the things that you need to do in today's modern business world. You want to grow your brand, you're going to need the help, and you're going to need Stripe Digital Solutions to do that. Sorry about that. Stripe Digital Solutions, again, can be found. StripeDigitalSolutions.com. Also Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And again, stick taps, love, and respect. Stripe Digital Solutions for the incredible effort, performance, and no half-stepping job at the home base freakout here just over a week ago. I want to throw it over to one more Renegade of Puck on this episode. Ann Kimmel's back in the trenches. Of course, she covered all of the Olympic hockey from the women's side of the bracket, now covering sled hockey at the Paralympics. So last night there was a big night and a big matchup in the tournament, and Team USA was on the ice and stayed up late. She did the breakdown, and she's got everything covered for us right here in the trenches. So let me go ahead and throw it over to Ann Kimmel. She's going to cover the U.S. sled hockey team Paralympics, and she'll be covering the entirety of the tournament. Ann, it's all yours.
Defending gold medalist Team USA made quite a statement with their preliminary round play at the Beijing Paralympics, and they have earned their spot into the sled hockey semifinals. Team USA faced off against their biggest rival on Friday night, Team Canada, and it was a strong performance for the United States crew. Despite Canada starting out the first and second periods with some offensive pressure, it was ultimately Team USA who dominated in a 5-0 win. Goaltender Jen Lee recorded a shutout against Canada, and look, this was a really important win for Jen Lee, who took over the starting netminder job from Steve Cash, who retired after the World Championships last year. Jen Lee remained cool and confident in net under Canada's pressure, and he earned the shutout against a usually offensively productive Canadian team. Not only did veteran players like Declan Farmer, Brodie Roybal, and Josh Pauls show up on the score sheet, but first-time Paralympian Malik Jones scored his first international goal against Canada. Jones went on to prove that his strong first game was no fluke in USA's second matchup in group play against Korea, where Malik Jones scored another 2 goals. This was a great night for the youngsters as Evan Nichols saw his first ice time against Korea, and Griffin Lamar took over in net for the third period of play in his first international action. Of course, the veterans showed up as well, Brodie Roybal and Declan Farmer getting on the score sheet with Josh Mashevitz. But it was veteran Jack Wallace who netted a first period hat trick in a 9-1 win, giving Team USA their automatic bid to the semifinals. Team USA came into this Paralympic tournament feeling very confident but very focused, and it's evident that their hard work after World Championships and the games in Beijing, it's clearly paying off. Now the team will have some extra time to rest and recover from preliminary round play. They'll be back in action later this week for the semifinals.
That's Ann Kimmel right there. She's going to be covering the Paralympic sled hockey tournament for us right here on Renegades of Puck TV, as well as covering the Nashville Predators and a myriad of other topics here around the hockey landscape and hockey universe. So thankful and so happy to have Ann in the trenches with the Renegades of Puck. Before we head on out of here, I did want to discuss one more thing. I haven't mentioned it yet because I was saving it for the close because it really was one of those type of performances. Just let me tell you, Roman Josi, last night, the captain of the Nashville Predators, responded exactly the way you want to see a captain respond. After the Nashville Predators fell against the Kraken the other night, he came out, he said they didn't deserve the win. What did he do? He came out and he made sure they did deserve to win this game against the San Jose Sharks. Roman Josi's stat line is otherworldly in this game. 4 assists in the game, a +6. That is a new franchise record for those of you who still believe in the plus-minus metric in any way. Shots on goal, 7 in this game. 2 takeaways, 21-44 in time on ice, and he was a huge factor in all of the offense. Could have probably had another assist in this game because of one of the other scrums that he was involved with at a certain point. But Roman Josi, the captain of the Nashville Predators, did exactly what you want from your captain while they were starting to suffer in mediocrity and starting to show some bad tendencies. He came out and put in the full no half step and jam. It was a treat to watch yesterday in San Jose. Now, for the season, Roman Josi now sits at 59 points in 55 games played by the Nashville Predators. You've heard me mention a couple of other times, but now I'd like to discuss a little bit more because it is actually within range, and it is becoming something we're going to need to track on a show-to-show basis. Everyone now knows Paul Kariya has the single-season points record for the Nashville Predators with 85 points. Paul Kariya is also number 2 on that list with 76 points. 2 seasons here, highly impressive hockey and stats by Paul Kariya. Roman Josi, sitting at 59 points in 55 games, has maintained a beyond point-per-game pace the entire season. These 4 points he just put up, the streak he's been on recently shows no indication that he is going to be slowing down with the Nashville Predators coming into the most pivotal stretch of the schedule of the season to try to will his team into a playoff spot. There's no ceiling to say how high Roman Josi could go. Now, can Roman Josi get from 59 points to 85 points if he continues his point-per-game pace? Yes, he absolutely can. Do I believe that's going to happen? No, but I think it's going to be an awful lot of fun to track getting close to it. I do believe that Roman Josi is going to eclipse the 76-point mark and make him the second best all-time single-season points for a Nashville Predator. But unlike Paul Kariya and everyone else on the list, Roman Josi is, of course, a defenseman. It is incredible stuff to watch, and it is incredible. So can he get 26 points in 27 games? We will continue tracking it right here on Renegades of Puck TV. But it is within range, and it is not without reason to think that Roman Josi can continue his point-per-game pace that he has been on, adding 4 more assists just last night against the San Jose Sharks. Fantastic episode back here in the trenches and the bunker with each and every one of you Renegades of Puck. We've got a lot of hockey coming up. The Nashville Predators, a significant homestand, a lot of Central Division hockey, and you're going to want to be dialed into everything the Renegades of Puck are doing. We're going to be doing a whole lot of coverage, and we're going to be bringing you the best of the best the rest of the way. So appreciate each and every one of you for jumping in the trenches. For Mostradamus, for Sean C. Smith, for Brian Baston, who will be back soon. Of course, for K. Perk, for Ann Kimmel, and for the Ultimate One. I am your host and Captain Crazy Charlie Saunier. Stick tabs, love, and respect.